Welcome to Rested Warfare. I am the Warlord Mal, and today we're going to take on one impossible level AI, as well as check out one of the mods that's available for this game. I'd like to thank Eos Condor for introducing this game to me. It was a lot of fun, and there is so much you can do with it, such as early access to gun drones in the air to fend off early game attackers, long-range artillery to outdistance defenders, naval shore bombardment, ships that crawl up onto land so you can continue your siege from the sea. And if you get bored of all that, well, you can download one of the dozens of mods available, such as this, Aliens vs. Predator. So let's dive right into the early game. Machines were the hope to replace man in war. Little did man know that machine would be the womb for man to be reborn into war. So, as I said earlier, we'll be facing off against one AI on impossible difficulty. So, the basis of every strategy game: how do you get more money than your opponent and use that money to more quickly build units to destroy them? In this game, you answer that question by building extractors. Buildings can be built faster by having multiple builders. Extractors can extract cash out of the ground faster by upgrading them. Naturally, we're going to want to build extractors over all of the resource points and make use of this cash by having multiple factories. So, our strategy is obvious. We're going to expand and then hold territory. In order to hold territory, the game provides us with turrets: anti-air turrets, anti-ground turrets. These turrets, much like the extractors, can be upgraded to be more efficient, do more damage. This enemy builder is building a turret behind our enemy lines. The impossible level AI does hilarious things like this. So, we've been able to take half the map, no contest, and we're going to secure it with our turrets. Operation Expand and Hold is pretty successful at this point. To further bulk our defenses up, I'm going to build an airfield, which will allow us light gun drones, and that's going to attack artillery. Now, the computer loves to use artillery to outdistance your turrets, so it makes it harder to hold ground. I also need to start offense, so that means starting construction on some tanks, but the tanks I'm after, well, they're in the tier 2 of our land factory, so I need to upgrade that before I start producing anything. Remember that enemy turret? Yep, he's going to trash my builders right here. I forgot about him. Whoops. Just like that, first blood is drawn. I was scouting with my gun drones and encountered some scouts. A lot of land units can attack air units in this game, so you aren't particularly screwed if you have a bunch of land units. Alright, I have 2 level 2 land factories, and we're producing heavy tanks. Heavy tanks are great because they have a large amount of firepower, and they can also shoot air units. Here we are. The AI is escalating their tactics. They know that short-range tactics are not effective, so they bring in artillery. Luckily, I thought of this ahead of time. We have our gun drones, and light artillery has very little HP. They're going down. Our economy is booming. We've countered the enemy attack, and we have a big pile of tanks. It's time to enter the middle of the game where we press an assault of our own. People are at best an asset to be exploited, and at worst a cost to be endured. Everything is optimized for capital until it runs out of world to consume. How do you justify a runaway military budget? Well, you have enemies. Enemies who have resources you want to consume, land you need to own, culture for you to reform. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Enemy machines, goodbye. Our tanks will destroy you with their missiles. Your factories are obsolete against this massive wave. Most strategy games are like this. You build up a critical mass of forces, and you know when to strike. And here you can see they have a bunch of turrets, some slightly upgraded stuff, but nothing that can stop this massive wave. So, that does not mean that we win. We still have to keep building tanks, keep our economy up, and defend our other side of the island. But, with all that said, I do manage to carve pretty deeply into their territory, taking away 2 additional resource nodes from them. As you can see, no big challenges. We're able to easily hold what we've taken. And here we are, taking another resource point from them. Their economy should crumble. The AI does not give up, though. It sneaks scouts behind my front lines. As you can see, they're almost going to destroy a resource collector, which would be expensive. It's an upgraded one. So, we have to reroute some of our forces here to take care of these guys. To punish them, I head back down, cutting around, and I'm just going to chop off this entire section of their base. Alright, we are all in. There is their command post. I'm just going to route some more troops up there, and then that's it. They're completely and utterly done. Oh, yeah. They are kicked off this main island. So, even though they don't have anything left on the island, they still have stuff off of the island. And we go ahead and start building some hover tanks to take them on. The hover tanks are pretty damn awesome. So, we have one more campaign ahead of us. It is time to take our war into the sea. It's time for the end game. Every organism, every human being, must conquer or serve. This is an ultimatum. One more war to fight in the ocean. So, on top of the hover tanks, I began building Tier 2 Navy yards. Our hover tanks make quick work of the enemy's eastern island. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know why they had a bunch of artillery just sitting there. I guess it'd be useful against boats. On the western islands, we bombard with a heavy battleship. But it's not going to be enough. We're going to need a Nautilus, which is pretty much the heaviest ship you can build. It also has the ability to get on top of land. It can build boats. It can also be a sub, too. I mean, this thing really does quite a bit. So, you know what? We build a second one, just to make sure. Murder sure, that is. So, the island is now devastated. And it is time to hunt for the last remaining units. Which, yeah, it's just this little dock. We win. But what would this game be if I didn't show you what a nuclear missile launch looked like? Yes, you can build nukes in this game, and they're pretty damn good. A little bit less powerful than Total Annihilation, but they're a little bit bigger than a tactical scope. They're still a strategic weapon. They can take away an area from the enemy. Wonderful. Well, this concludes our game, but I still wanted to show you the mod that I was talking about. The Aliens vs. Predator mod. And there are other mods out there too that add more turrets, more super units, a whole bunch of stuff. What did you say this room was called? Sacrificial Chamber. So, enabling mods is pretty easy. You get the mod, you put it in the mods folder, you enable it, you hit save and reload the game, and boom, you're playing modded Rusted Warfare. And I'm going to make the terrible mistake of playing on Impossible against 4 other AIs with all of them teamed up against me, just for shits and giggles. So, you get to choose your faction at the very beginning of this mod. You have like Predators, you have Aliens, you have Marines, and something else, I forget what it was. But you pretty much try to take and hold territory, just as before. I chose the Marines because I've only really played successfully as them before. And you have power suits that can build up sentry guns. You have the awesome sounds of the Aliens here. The Predators have some longer range units that kind of are a pain for me. But otherwise, you have Rusted Warfare mechanics on top of it all. You upgrade everything, and, you know, just get better troops, better vehicles. Oh man, that thing was looking cool. It's like a Mantis Prince or something crazy. These Comtechs are awesome. They can build all of their own sentry guns, repair things, deploy suits of power armor, you know, that allow you to build more out in the field. They're like a really good logistics unit. But I'm having some trouble here holding my ground. I wonder why. Everybody's teamed up against me. It's not supposed to end this way. Well, this is the end of Rusted Warfare. It was a lot of fun to go through this game and finish that scenario against an impossible AI. I had never beaten one of those before. Not too bad. AI is decent, but of course, I'm sure human players would be a lot more competent still. And the modded stuff will definitely keep you entertained for a good while. I think the game's like $6. Pretty cheap. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and I kept you entertained for this time. And have a great rest of your day here. If you've enjoyed this, please consider throwing your Warlord a few bones on Patreon. It really helps keep things going around here. Keep up the costs of buying new editing tools, new hard drives, which I just bought, like a new terabyte hard drive, solid state. Very nice. So, anyways, I will catch you guys on more finished games. See you then.